All right, how's it going, everybody? It is the Awesemo.com NHL DFS Strategy Show, and we've got a huge slate to get into. Bunch of trade news. Deadline was yesterday, so we'll recap kind of everything that happened, anything of importance, and how it relates to today's DFS slate. I'm joined, as I am on most Tuesdays, by Nolan Kelly. What's up, Nolan?
What's going on?
Oh man, just trying to make do
Just
with
hand
these
building
13
150?
games. Yeah, yeah. I might have to dust off the old hand builder. We've got the lineup builder up
You
on
got
the
to
screen.
contact Ben Rasa and get him on video screen share screen.
Yeah, he's the hand building goat. So he'd be a great resource. I don't know. I used to hand build all the time. I used to just play one lineup.
Oh
Nolan and
yeah, I
I,
used to hand build 20 max every night.
dang, I think I did that for a while too.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah,
it's good
now
actually. It's such a transition to go from hand building to not because you're like you know exactly what your player pool is and how much exposure you have. And then like for the first time using Fantasy Cruncher, like the first month, I'd be like, wait, oh, I forgot to check this goalie starting. I don't even know if I have them. It's a
right,
process.
right, exactly. That's a mistake I used to make. Just like not check the goalies or click one in when you're going super quick. So just got to
Yeah,
be
exactly.
aware of what you're doing. Please update the top stacks tool. The top stacks tool will be updated once Fantasy Cruncher gets updated. So
For sure.
yeah, as well as ownership. I was able to get projections up on the site. Just took me a little bit of extra manual work, but hopefully FC will come up and that will automate things quite a bit more for us. So we'll update if we see anything if it comes up during the show. But for now, planning to hand build a few lineups, and we'll see how that goes. Kind of a qualifier build, and there's some good contests over on DraftKings. There's obviously contests on Yahoo Daily Fantasy Sports. They're going to be smaller, but you can still make some money over on Yahoo. $200 to first in their $12. You can use promo code Awesemo to get up to $30 in Yahoo Sports rewards points. 11.3% management fee. Hard to find much better than that. They do have a management fee free contest for PGA this week. I'm sure Nolan will be in this. I should probably get in this as well. It's filling up fast. 5 max, $3 price point. That's one you're not going to be able to beat anywhere in the industry. So go join Yahoo. It's probably available in your state. I think it's available in most states. It's available in Canada now. So really, very few excuses not to be going and playing over on Yahoo Daily Fantasy Sports, one of the most trusted names in fantasy. Yeah, rake management fees. Yahoo calls them management fees, so I say management fees when I am referring to Yahoo. What do we have? What do you think of yesterday? How it all went down? What was kind of your favorite move?
For the deadline,
Yeah,
yeah.
for the deadline.
I mean, I thought Carolina did really well. That was my
Yeah,
my take. Like, I thought Trocheck for a song, and then like they added some depth to their defense. They get Dougie Hamilton back, and I think they're in business if they can make the playoffs. I mean, they've got three lines that can score. Yeah, just an underrated team. I like the Athanasio addition for the Oilers, though they just lost Yamamoto today. I think that kind of takes the Oilers to another level because really they've really needed another scoring winger. Um, what else? Tampa Bay. I thought they overpaid for Barclay Goodrow, but you know, adding those
yeah.
two, adding Coleman and Goodrow, that's some pretty deep forward depth right there. So, like what they did too. I guess they're in win now mode as well. How about yourself?
Yeah, I liked Carolina. They got a couple key pieces there. You mentioned Hamilton returning. That was pretty good for them, or that's going to be pretty good when he comes back. And yeah, there was a bunch of weird ones. The Goodrow one that you brought up, like Goodrow for a first round pick. I don't know where that came from, but
Oh,
now San Jose is even weaker down the middle if they weren't already. So yeah, there was a bunch of moves. I don't know. I'm kind of blanking on a couple right now, but I'm sure I'll remember some as we go through.
32
Uh,
deals, I believe.
yeah, it just seemed
So
like
you're
every
you're
5 or
allowed to.
6 minutes there was something we missed. But I think you mentioned Athanasio as well. Will be fun to see him with McDavid, all that speed on one line. Um, so it'll be
I
fun,
got
man.
I got my water. I'm ready to go. We got a lot of games tonight, and there's going to be a lot of changes. So we'll keep you up to date.
Yeah, I don't think we have lineup study from last night. But how did you play Showdown and all?
I just had a few, and I had too much Merzlikins to succeed, but Look, it was interesting. I saw you up there with your, what did you have, like Andrew Peak? Is that who that was? Like, there's what we should do. I think once we get into May and June, let's you and I we'll do a show just talking about some of these showdown slates, because I think there's a real edge to be had in how people approach them. Like Merzlikins was way overowned in the captain spot, and there were some other guys that were way underowned, I think, as a result. And putting unique captains in there, it's probably the most edge I think you can generate.
Yeah.
While still not going down in projection too much. But how about you? What was your takeaways?
Yeah, so I play a lot of the like chalkier like top six forward captains. Like that's kind of what I like to stick to when I do play Showdown. So yeah, it ended up working out last night. Columbus one was huge. I was pretty heavy on them, and then not super heavy on the rest of the Columbus skaters. I didn't even like watch the game or pay attention at all. Someone tagged me on Twitter and just said like, "Nice job." I was like, "Oh, I must have done something good." But
Did you win?
no, I think I got second or third in the big
Nice.
one. So yeah, it was good. It would have been nice to have some higher prize pools, but I guess can't complain on a showdown. Hopefully for the playoffs, it'll be a little bit more money in the pool. So get rewarded if you do get up there in highly variant gameplay. So let's go through the games. We don't have lineup study because of the issues we're having with FC, but let's start with Calgary and Boston. 3.4 implied total for the Bruins, 2.5 for the Flames. David Riddick and Tuukka Rask are your goalies. Do we see anything new here?
Oh, give me one sec here. Let me just pull this up. Flames and who? Remind me again.
Flames and Bruins.
Flames and Bruins. So yeah, Kasha's still out for another game. Looks like Giordano's probably going to be back for the Flames on a pairing with TJ Brody as well. The new third pairing for the Flames, Derek Forbort and Eric Gustafsson. Gustafsson on the top power play unit as well. Not a huge discount there. So he's kind of a middling play, I think, at that price. But certainly there's some upside. Dubé, Ryan, and Lucic are also together on a new look third line, and then Jankowski between Reeder and Bennett on the fourth line for the Bruins. Coleman with Krejci and DeBrusque, and then I think Kasha would go into that spot once he's ready to go back.
Did you mention the third line, Richie, Coyle, and Bjork?
Yeah, Richie
Yeah.
Coyle and Anders Bjork.
Okay.
Is that new? I guess I forgot. Yeah.
Yeah, because Richie just got traded. It was Coyle, Bjork, and Coolman for a while there, which I actually like. I don't think it's gonna be too bad of a play with Richie there either. We saw him do some work on that Henrik Richie and Troy Terry line. Terry got sent down. I don't know what the deal is there, but anyways, I think there's a couple options in this game. Boston won almost always, at least like on the fringe of a priority. They're not even that expensive. It doesn't look like the nut spot for Boston, but good implied total here. I think they're probably going to spend a lot of time against Monahan, Gaudreau, and Lindholm. That's been the less good defensive line for the Flames top six, and it's Boston one, so you can go there pretty much whenever you want. If I'm hand building, 5 to 10 lineups or something like that, which I might end up doing tonight, I think I would have a couple Boston one shares. So they're up there for me for sure. Will be interesting to see once we finally do get ownership projections where they come in at. I'm guessing for a 13-game slate, you probably won't see them too much over double digits, and they might even be below that. I think if you're going to the Calgary side, it's probably this Backlund line, but Boston's just a tough matchup all around. I try not to target them when I can avoid it. It is a huge slate. You see the really low total here for the Flames, and then I kind of like this third line for Boston. If you're going pretty deep, that Coyle, Richie, and Bjork trio for super, super cheap.
Yeah, I totally agree with you.
Defenseman here, you've got McAvoy and Krug that you can target for Boston. Gio, is he officially a game time decision?
Yeah, game time decision. So it looks like he is probably going to be good to go, but
Yeah.
yeah, we won't know for sure until right before.
Right. I think he's going to probably play. I don't think this is the game that I'm firing him up, though, very much. It would probably be Krug or nothing for me in this game for defenseman. If I end up MMEing, I'll mix in some of these Boston lines. Definitely Boston one, and then probably this third line as well.
Yeah, seems to make sense to me. Yeah, don't think I'll be playing much Giordano, though.
Let's go to Vancouver and Montreal. 2.9 implied total for the Canucks. 3.2 for the Canadiens. Thatcher Demko and Carey Price are your goalies. Any changes here?
Yeah, on the Montreal side of things, of course, they traded Ilya Kovalchuk yesterday. So Jake Evans takes over on his spot between beside Domi and Byron. Not much to say about Evans. He's kind of just an okay AHLer. And then Suzuki, Armia, and Drouin on the second line there. Everything pretty much looks the same there. Nate Thompson, I guess, gone, but we don't care. Jordan Wheel moves into center of the fourth line, and then Dale Weiss and Lehkonen. Everything the same, I think, for the Canucks.
Yeah. I think the second line is pretty interesting for Vancouver. Pettersson, Miller, and Toffoli. I'm looking on my phone over here trying to get updates to see if FC is
I'm
live or what.
all over the Montreal side of this one with Demko and net here.
I mean, you think he's a significant downgrade from Markstrom, correct?
Yeah, I do.
I mean, Markstrom's playing really well. I think we talked about this, or me and Cliffy talked about this. I can't remember.
Yeah, he leads the league in stolen games, so by like a large margin. So and Demko's been kind of shaky, especially on the road. Like he's had some serious issues in a few games, and his goals against average is 3, save percentage is just above 9. So I think there's a pretty clear downgrade. But,
Okay, no, fair enough.
I mean,
it is a high total, right? It is a pretty good total for Montreal. You've got an elite Montreal one line,
and they're cheap.
Yeah, way too cheap. So I like that they soften the pricing up for these bigger slates. Usually for MME, I like it. But if I can't end up doing that tonight, then I still would mix in Montreal 1. I'm trying to not get cute if I end up with limited lineups. I don't think Montreal 1 is getting cute at all. I agree with you. Demko, definitely a bit of a downgrade. Debatable how much actually, or how much you can account for that in one game. But Markstrom was playing really well. Dano, Tatar, Gallagher, the only problem with them is that they're probably going to see a lot of Pettersson, Miller, and Toffoli. Not a line that you can't score on, but maybe not the nut matchup at 5-on-5, but just such a good price for Montreal 1. Like for a line that we love playing, they got a huge track record of them being incredible at 5-on-5. Hard to really avoid them even on a 13-game slate, I think.
Agreed. Cliffy said to me on Twitter, Montreal, I think the Domi line he was touting a little bit.
Domi, Evans, Byron? Is that right?
No, it couldn't have been it. Let me look.
It could be that. Or Suzuki, Drew, and Armia.
I think it was Montreal 3. So
does he consider Domi the second line though?
I don't know.
Okay, that could be it.
Watching, he'll tell us.
I know he's a Suzuki fan. I think he is. But yeah, I think you could go to this Montreal depth as well. If I'm going to the Canucks side, I don't know that I'm getting there all that often. I'm probably going to what I think is the best line, Pettersson, Miller, and Toffoli. And then on the blue line here, I'm looking at Petrie the most at 4,800. Petrie plus Montreal 1 or Montreal 2 makes for a pretty good 4-man stack, or if you wanted to do some sort of power play stack.
Sounds good.
Anything else in this game?
Nah.
All right, let's go to a pretty fun one here. Toronto and Tampa Bay, 3.1 implied total for the Leafs, 3.8 for the Lightning. Frederik Andersen and Andrei Vasilevsky are your goalies. Do we see anything new on these teams?
Yeah, so on the Tampa side, Blake Coleman moves up from his third line spot to escape with Chiarelli and Killorn. Barclay Goodrow draws in on the third line with Johnson and Palat. Like, what's not to like about? Like, I could make a case for any one of these Tampa lines as filler stacks, man. Fourth line, Paquette, Maroon, and Gord. Like, that's not the worst fourth line in the world. And then Eric Chernak is a game-time decision. Not sure if we have any info on that. Just saw that on Daily Faceoff right now. Looks like he's good to go for tonight. I think Toronto's all the same.
You think they're out of sync?
Toronto's all the same. I think they're
okay.
But that too. Yeah, I mean, you get beat by a Zamboni driver, you're probably going to get a little criticism.
Yeah, they definitely did. And they just had a big bounce back win against Pittsburgh, I think, the night before. So
yeah,
pretty frustrating stretch for them up and down. For the Leafs, here, I don't know that it's going to get a ton better. Stamkos, Point, Kucherov playing so well at even strength. They're pretty cheap. Point at 5,800 makes lightens the blow a little bit. They're fully correlated on the power play. Like, this is one of the top lines, I think, up there with like the Boston, like your Boston ones, is one of the best lines on the entire night. I think I have Boston one a little bit higher than them. We'll see where the ownership falls between these two lines. I doubt it's going to be anything significant. So basically, if you're looking to play one of these two, just pick your favorite one. Tampa one is a little bit cheaper, but yeah, looks amazing. I think they're going to spend a lot of time against the Matthews, Marner, Hyman line. That's not the end of the world. Huge total, and you're just getting three integral parts of not only their 5-on-5 scoring, but their power play scoring as well. And I'm probably going to leave off Hedman on my Tampa, most of my Tampa 1 stacks. What about the second line? Cirelli, Coleman, Killorn. We got to like that.
Yeah, I mean, I like
right?
it. I like them all.
Yeah. You
It's
mentioned
a little bit pricey, but pretty good.
Oh, it's not too bad. I mean, Killorn and Cirelli, I think you're getting good prices on them.
But like, you could take Montreal 1 for that price, pretty much. Maybe not.
For Cirelli? Well, I mean, Montreal 1 has more. Gallagher.
Yeah.
Gallagher 6K, but I like the second line as well. I'm just a big fan of Cirelli. Seems like whatever line mates he has, he does some damage with. And
yeah, he's been good.
They might have the tougher matchup. Maybe they see some time against the Matthews line as well. But they've held their own, and Coleman on that line, I think, makes for a pretty good addition. So I like the full line stacks here.
You think TB1 goes up against Toronto 1?
I can't say for sure. I think they're going to see like the top 6 is going to see a ton of time against each other. I don't know that it's going to be a super heavy match for this Tampa side, at least not an intentional one, but it'll be some of both, I think. Anything else on the blue line? I'm trying to read chat as well while we go.
No.
All right. I think I'm probably good. I think Cernak might be a guy you could throw in a 4-man Tampa stack if he does play it at basically no ownership. I don't really like the Toronto side, I will say. Not a big fan of them tonight. I know they're priced down a little bit, but it's like everyone's priced down. So
could be a scenario where they get like, I don't think they're going to get any ownership though. That's the only saving grace, but it's not like they're cheap.
Yeah, you might get like a Matthews or someone like that at under 5%, but just, I know value's overrated, so there's always a reason to go to these top stacks, even in suboptimal matchups in the event-based sports. But like, there's just no value, I think, with Toronto 1 when you're going up against these two really good lines at 5-on-5, and even like you mentioned, Tampa's just really deep now. So not a team I love to target, even with the 3.1 total. I hope I'm not missing anything there. Let's go to the Rangers and the Islanders. 2.7 implied total for the Rangers, 3.3 for the Isles. Georgiev and Varlamov are your goalies. And these two teams weren't super active at the deadline. We thought maybe Chris Kreider was going to get dealt. One big addition, though, on the Islander side, right?
Yeah, J.G. Pajot signs a contract of getting dealt. He's on the third line between Dal Cole and Bailey. I think it gives these Islanders a lot more depth. It's like that third line's no longer. They get Zizekas back with Martin and Clutterbuck. Like that fourth line's their shutdown line. Like, I don't know what they're going to use Pajot for then, but like this is it's a pretty deep hockey team. So yeah, and then the other lines, Brassard moves up. I don't think he was with Nelson and Beaulier last game, so he's up on the second line, right wing. And then the big news out of the Rangers is that we don't know if Kreider or Buchnevich are going to play. So there's a decent edge to be had there if they don't go. Like, I think if they don't go, I like the Islanders a lot more, and I think they're viable, even though they're kind of a little bit pricey. And if Buchnevich and Kreider do go, not a bad matchup at like next to no ownership, right?
Yeah, I like the call kind of on both sides. Been targeting against both of these teams. Actually been targeting against the Islanders quite a bit more recently. Their 5-on-5 numbers are not super impressive, but I do like the Islanders side here. Barzal, Lee, and Eberle, I just really believe in this line. They've had a couple huge performances, so their prices are up quite a bit. You're not getting great value for almost $19K on their line, but that's my preferred play in this game. Looking at the Strome, Panarin, and Foss line, as a very secondary deep play on the Rangers side. I don't think you need to go crazy with them. I don't think there's going to be a lot of ownership on the Rangers side. So a team that's playing well, it's generating a ton of offense. Maybe you get them a little bit under own here.
Yeah.
Any defensemen we should mention here? Tony D, Trouba, Taves, Pulak, any of these guys?
I think I'm good on these guys, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I don't have a ton of interest besides some Taves add-ons just because he's the power play one quarterback, but that's really the only good thing I can say about him at this point. Not getting a lot of the peripheral stats that you're looking at, even for 4,100. You'd like him to do a little bit more in general. Let's go to the Sharks and the Flyers. 2.5 implied total for the Sharks, 3.5 for the Flyers. Aaron Dell and Carter Hart are your goalies, and big name back for the Sharks here.
Yeah, so Logan Couture looks like he is good to go for the Sharks. New line combos for them with Goodrow gone and him back. He's going to center LeBanc and Kane, Meyer, Thornton, Gambrell, and then true between Noasen and Sorensen. They switched their lines about 10 minutes after game time last game out, so that was it's a lot of fun. And then where are we at here? Sorry, I just lost my place. On the other side of things,
you're looking at Flyer Sharks?
Yeah, Fly Sharks. Sorry, did you go to another one?
No, you're good.
Yeah, okay. On the Flyer side of things, I think everything is pretty much the same. Derek Grant, new acquisition, centering the third line. First time he's been off a fourth line in a while. Nate Thompson centering the fourth line.
Yeah. In this game, I think we're going to see the Flyers be pretty popular once we do get ownership projections. They look cheap. The Sharks have been a pretty good team to target recently, but getting Couture back definitely does make a difference, even if he's not quite 100%. Like, I don't know why they would bring him back if he's not close to 100% at this point. Probably want to protect him just because he's one of their better players. But I want to take a quick look at where this Couture line has been. I just had it. Couture, Kane, LeBanc. Yeah, they only have under 90 minutes. They haven't been super impressive at 5-on-5, but so I mean, Flyers 1 is fine here. I just don't think I'm going to like him as much as the ownership projections are going to indicate people are playing them tonight. So, ton of spots, and Flyers 1 is a good one. If we thought they were going to be like under 8%, under 10%, something like that, then yeah, I would play a bunch of them here, but I don't think I'm going to have as much interest. I think that might be one of your highest owned lines of the night, just based on their price and their implied total, and they're fully correlated. Flyers 2 in chat. Hayes, Konechny, and Lawton. You could leave off Lawton. You can go with Van Riemsdyk or someone like that if you wanted to for this Flyers second line. So they're probably going to get the easier matchup against the non-Couture Sharks lines.
Yeah. I wasn't actually thinking they would be that highly owned, but I think you're probably right,
Seth says Flyers 1 lock. So they're going to be chalk. Seth loves playing chalk. So pretty much take them off the table, right? Burns 7,500, been playing just out of his mind.
Back.
He's Brent Burns of old. I don't know what's going on here. He's still playing hurt. Probably going to have to get
Hasn't had less than 14 DFS points in those last 10 games.
Yeah. He's just been playing amazing. 7,500.
10 shots on goal against the Rangers.
He's had like 10 attempts, just like basically every game. So he looks great. He's expensive.
I think you can go back to him tonight. I mean, I prefer Yossi in a pretty darn good spot up against Ottawa on back-to-backs depleted. So my preference is to go there, but I think everyone's preference will be to go there. So
right. Yeah, so maybe an ownership thing between Burns and Yossi. They're both great options. I think I prefer Yossi a little bit more in this specific spot, but I've been playing the last few slates. I've been playing more Burns than Yossi. So it's kind of flipped back and forth as the season has gone on. But Burns is a great option here as more of a one-off guy. I don't really recommend playing a ton of Sharks 1 here.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, let's go to the Jets and the Caps. 2.8 implied total for the Jets. 3.7 for the Caps. Laurent Brossoit and Braden Holtby are your goalies. And big name going over to the Caps on their third line. I don't see much else of note on the Jet side besides some line changes.
Yeah, so Kovalchuk debuts with Eller and Hagelin. I think that's pretty much it for them. All pretty much the same. Still Kuznetsov up on that top line. Yeah, the Jets mixed around with their lines. I think last game Jensen Harkins was up with Scheifele and Wheeler, and then Kopp centering Line and Connor. Ehlers all the way down on the third line with new center Cody Eakin. So, yeah.
Very good. Kind of weird that that Vegas traded him. I didn't even hear his name as a possible trade. So there were a couple of like
Yeah. I wonder if that was like a cap move. Like, did they? I feel like they had their name in the pot for a lot of different things.
Could be.
What did they didn't really? Just Alec Martinez really they ended up with.
Yeah.
I guess, which isn't bad, but.
So Kuznetsov and Ovechkin and Wilson back together. That's going to be not a great line. But I think that we're going to see not a great line defensively. Sorry, offensively should be pretty exciting. Ovi, Vrana, Oshie probably going to spend the most time against Scheifele, Wheeler, and that leaves a pretty good matchup for Kuznetsov, Ovi, and Wilson. So you get Kuznetsov at cheaper than Backstrom, and maybe that's going to higher the ownership of the stack. You could also power play stack the Capitals. It's basically all caps for me here. If I'm going to a Jets line, it is going to be this Winnipeg 2 line, I think. Connor, Kopp, and Line. Not good defensively, but I think they're going to spend a lot of time against Kuznetsov, Ovi, and Wilson, who's not good defensively. So if there's a big performance, I like the Winnipeg 2 line to be doing a bunch of the damage. And then kind of out on Washington 2 and Winnipeg 1. I think Washington 2 is going to come up as a pretty good value stack, but I'm just not a big believer in that line. Just haven't been a big believer in Varane and Oshie this year. They just don't generate as much at 5-on-5 as I would like them to.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I guess we don't have much of a sample size on any of these lines yet, so it's kind of tough to.
In previous years, we do. Like these
lines. No, for the Jets. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I just know like the couple games I've looked at with Kopp, Line and Connor, they've just been pretty poor defensively, just giving up a ton of.
Somehow they have 83 minutes together. This line.
Well, they've played. Well, man, that's like 5 or 6 games together.
Like, when did that happen? I don't even remember.
I don't know. All these slates run together.
2.16 goals for, 2.96 against. So.
Carlson got to be up there on the as one of the top defensemen on the slate, 7,200. I think he's going to get left behind Yossi and probably Burns just because of recency bias. Carlson has cooled down a little bit, but I like him. I love these expensive defensemen. There are a ton of them tonight. These 3 guys that we've mentioned already. Carlson probably ranks 3rd, but depending on where his ownership is relative to those 2 other guys, I might get to a decent amount of Carlson one-offs. One of the best spots for like a multi-point game, double combo meal, I think is in play here as well. Jets, one of the worst kills in the NHL, and they just need the opportunities here, I think, for the Caps, and it could be an absolutely massive game.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Let's go to the Stars and the Hurricanes. 2.7 implied total for the Stars, 2.8 for the Hurricanes. Khudobin and Nedeljkovic. I don't know how to pronounce this guy's name. But anyways, he's starting for Carolina. Never heard of the man before today. Maybe he'll be our new Shesterkin for what the Rangers had for a little while there. But this is not a super interesting game for DFS. You got any news we should mention?
Yeah, I guess it's kind of tough. I was thinking of like Carolina 1 maybe as a contrarian play. But like, you're just not going to need much. This Nedeljkovic, not great numbers with the Charlotte Checkers, 251 goals against average, but just a 905 save percentage, kind of middling results in the AHL so far, 24 years old. So probably can't expect too much, but you never know. Goalies on a debut. The feels like this is just gut, but it feels like there's, something going like that. Like you get a little emotion and maybe you can steal a game. I don't know. But yeah, on the Carolina Hurricanes side of things, Vincent Trocheck debuts on the third line with Nietzsche and Niederreiter. And then Brady Shea on the top unit with Slavin, and Semi Vatanen is still out.
All right. Like I said, not a very interesting game for DFS. Carolina gets deeper down the middle with Trocheck. No Dallas line that I'm super crazy about here. And then I agree with you on Carolina 1. They're just pretty expensive for not a great
Yeah.
spot. I don't know how the matching is going to go. Like, they brought over Trocheck. They spent a bunch for him. They're not going to just have them actually play third line minutes, I don't think. So I think this just evens things out for Carolina even more. Like, you've got this top line, and that would be the one I'd like to target, but a little bit expensive for me tonight, especially when I don't know who they're going to go up against. So I don't know. Carolina 1 a long shot flyer for me with the 2.8 implied total, and you're paying a good amount for them. But other than that, really nothing of note in this game for me.
Yeah.
Carolina 3, you
Fair.
going to Trocheck? People,
I don't know. It depends on what the ownership is on that one. Cause,
it's going to be low.
It's going to be low?
Yeah, I would think so.
Because I think Trocheck's actually good. And, it's kind of like he's just been held back by his crappy line mates and lack of ice time and lack of like being put in decent situation in Florida. So, this guy was like a former OHL scoring leader. The guy was insane coming out of junior and, showed some flashes for a couple years there. So I think like there's some real upside there. And then like I like both of his line mates. They're both cheap. So filler stack, I guess, sign me up. I'm not sure like I'm gonna have too much because it isn't a great matchup, but maybe a line to keep an eye on in like over the coming weeks.
Yeah, this is probably the spot where you're going to get them at really, really low ownership. I know they're cheap, but 13 game slate, I can't imagine a third line's more than a couple percent owned. So I like the idea of the line with Niederreiter and Nichus, and then I agree. I believe in Trocheck, so maybe this is the spot to jump on them at a good price. They're 11K on DraftKings, not too bad.
Nuts.
Let's go to the Devils and the Red Wings. 3 implied total for the Devils, 2.6 for the Red Wings. Corey Schneider and Jonathan Bernier are your goalies.
Corey Schneider.
Yeah, Schneider getting the
Detroit
start.
1. Let's go.
Do you like him? What do you think?
I do now.
Yeah, this is probably going to be. They've got to be one of the more popular lines in the night. I think it's tough without ownership projections, but 18.6 you're paying for them here, and I don't think that's much of an overprice. 2.6 total is actually pretty decent for Detroit. They're going to grade out pretty well for us in our projections. One of the top raw point getters. If they can get on the power play here and you get this top unit on against the Devils, maybe you got a chance to do some extra damage. I know New Jersey does take a bunch of penalties. They do have like an average kill, but you're looking for the extra opportunities, and that's really all I care about right now. Detroit 1 or pretty much nothing for me on the Detroit side. You could probably make an argument for a couple different lines on the Devils. Do you have a favorite one?
No, I don't. I don't know. I guess New Jersey 1. I don't know. Like, not going to play the Zajac line tonight. Zach Gusev Brad, actually, now that you mention it, like, that's not terrible.
Yeah, I kind of like that line. I don't know if I need to go to a third line on the road on a 13-game slate is my only thing. So
yeah.
But I do. That's going to be a line I keep my eye on, I think, in the coming weeks.
Yeah, and like Gusev and Brad aren't cheap either, so that's kind of like the only reason to really fire that up is zero ownership, I guess. But
yeah, and then I think
goals in 2 straight.
One of the more obvious plays tonight is just New Jersey 1. Good price for them. You're seeing Detroit also takes a bunch of penalties. They have an even worse kill than the Devils. Just a bad team overall. The only problem with them is they're probably going to see a bunch of time against Larkin, Mantha, and Fabry, and that could potentially be an issue if Larkin and Mantha are really cooking offensively. So, no reason to get off of New Jersey 1 and MME. I don't think they're going to be high enough owned, but that's probably going to be the New Jersey line I have the most exposure to come lock.
Looks like Schneider's putting together a few decent results in the AHL as well. 271 goals against average, 9 save percentage. So not nearly, usually the AHL is a pretty decent indicator of, being like, if you put up those numbers in the AHL, you can probably put them up in the NHL. So
Larkin one-off great play. I think I agree with that. 7,100 is steep. but you have to think he factors in the scoring here more often than not if Detroit gets a few. Let's go to Chicago and St. Louis. 2.6 implied total for the Hawks, 3.4 for the Blues. Corey Crawford and Jordan Binnington are your goalies. Do you see anything new here?
Yeah, so on the Chicago side of things, Duncan Keith is now manning the power play one. Kind of a sneaky play, actually, tonight, up against a pretty strong St. Louis D, but he's gotten 27 and 28 minutes in back-to-back games now with Gustafsson out. So a little bit actually interested in him tonight, surprisingly, and might actually get a couple shares. I know it's not something you want to be like betting your life on, and I don't think any changes on the Blues side.
No, I don't think that's a bad call at all. On Keith specifically, it's not a good spot for Chicago. Obviously, going into St. Louis. I mean, St. Louis
zero ownership.
Yeah, they're not going to have any ownership. You're not getting a big discount on Kane. In fact, Saad is priced above $5K. I don't know. It's pretty much all Blues for me in this game. Top line, like most top lines tonight, not priced up enough. But I really like the second line as well for St. Louis. Thomas, Sanford, and Perron, they're all in the power play in some fashion. And probably going to get to see some time against the Tays, Kubalik line. Probably get to see some time against the third line for the Hawks as well. O'Reilly, Shen, and Schwartz should see the most time against the Kane-Saad line, I would think. So that's how I have the matchups going. But it's really all Blues here, and then maybe some Duncan Keith one-offs. What about Pietrangelo at 6,900? Is he just going to go completely overlooked compared to Yossi?
Yeah, he's not going to have any ownership, I don't think.
Yeah, I think I like that a lot. St. Louis won. I've been burned by them the last few games too, but it feels like they've been popular here a few times in a row, and they just haven't really gotten the job done. They've scored goals, but they haven't scored them in bunches. And,
yeah, I like that call.
Maybe this is the spot to go to just Blues onslaught.
Full stack it, and then like Binnington as well seems to be on a heater right now. 3 straight wins, 990 save percentage, plus like Corey Crawford in net for the Blackhawks. So we just kind of eliminate that Robin Lehner factor that has been killing us sometimes when we've targeted the Blackhawks this year.
Yeah.
Though Crawford's been decent of late, I still think there's a downgrade there for sure.
Yeah, Crawford has been decent, but yeah, Leonard was playing as like one of the best goalies in the NHL this season. The only problem I have with Binnington, and it's not that big of a deal, is he just going to see enough volume to be worth it at 8,200? Like if he lets in a couple goals, you might only be looking at under 20 DK points, which can hurt you in a large field tournament. So probably going to need a big performance. You're going to need him to see 30 shots or so. And I just don't know if the Hawks can generate that against this Blues defense. So
yeah,
St. Louis one should run all over Chicago. Captain Jenks says, I think I agree with you. They should run over most lines, especially the fraud Blackhawks. So I'm in agreement there. I'm getting higher on the Blues as I kind of talk about this game a little bit more. Let's go to Ottawa and Nashville. 2.5 implied total for the Sens, 3.9 for the Preds. Craig Anderson expected to go. It was Hogberg last night. Probably going to be Saros for the Preds, although we're not sure on that one either. Anything newsworthy here?
I think these Predators lines from Daily Faceoff are wrong, and they're just guessing. So Nick Bonino is expected back tonight, and the Predators had an optional skate this morning. So I would save like what I'm going to do here, because I think there's probably going to be like ramifications down the lineup. I don't know. Oh, they have Bonino in. Sorry, I missed that on the fourth line. So maybe these lines are right then. I just couldn't find any of the beats tweeting them out. So if you guys have the link, fire away, and then I'll take that down. I don't know if this was like from the main site or what, but I think they might be a guess.
Yeah, I'm not sure on the Preds lines, and that's an issue, especially because
none of the beat writers tweeted them out, and I think I saw them say it was an optional skate this morning, so that would lead me to believe.
What about yesterday? Did they skate at all?
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. Like maybe
it's on their Twitter site. Okay.
Is it? Okay. That's probably what it is. It's from yesterday. So, but the thing is, like, I don't know if that means like Bonino, like they just had him on the fourth line because he.
Dude, I have no idea.
I don't know.
There's been a couple recently where the lines have just completely jumbled. Minnesota had it a couple nights ago. I think on Sunday, I want to say Saturday, it was the Preds. I mean, it was like not one not a two-man anywhere was the same as what we had it projected to be. It was just out of nowhere. So I'm not sure what's going to happen here with the Preds lines, or which line should be considered the top line. And then you have the Preds who aren't great on the power play either. So how do you attack this game? It's a huge total, but who's going to play with who? I mean, maybe you just play the best skaters here. Would love it if Arvidsson and Forsberg and Ryan Johansson were together, or Bonino, or anyone between those two. I think would be really good, or some combination of Granlund. I just have no clue what the lines are actually going to be. So I'll probably just roll with what we have. If I do end up running FC tonight, I'll just roll with whatever we're guessing on and adjust. It's not like you have an Ovi where there's an 8K guy and then there's a bunch of 5K guys after that. Like everyone's 6K or below for the forwards, so you're going to be able to make it work somehow. It might not be perfect, but if you're around to swap, I think this is a game you pretty much have to have exposure to on the Preds side specifically.
Yeah, I agree. And you can get that exposure through Yossi. You can get it by, I think, holding off. I'm just going to keep some lines in there and adjust on the fly. Just make sure that I'm around my lineups come pregame skate time, because I think there might be an edge to be had.
Yeah, there definitely is going to be. I don't have a ton of confidence that these are actually going to be the lines, but if they are, Duchesne, Arvidsson looks like a good two-man. Johansson, Forsberg, Granlund, maybe the best full line. You got a couple defensemen you can choose from, Yossi and Ellis. 7,300 for Yossi. I think both of our favorite guys tonight. And then Seth wants Ekholm. He says Ekholm greater than Yossi. 4,600 for Ekholm. Not a bad price, but I'm sticking with the big guns here. $7,300 Yossi. If you can't get to
Ekholm's a poor man's Matt Dumba.
Oh man, that's pretty poor. That is pretty poor. But anyways, I don't know. I like Yossi. I'm back on for this slate.
How about Ryan Ellis?
Yeah, I mean, 6,200 is a bit expensive when he's not getting top power play.
I love him as a contrarian move, though. I just no one ever wants to own him.
That's true. I don't, because Yossi's usually sitting right there. But
23 minutes last game,
he does. Yeah, he does play a lot. I mean, he plays on Yossi's pairing, so he's going to play about the same amount of time.
Double stack. Let's do it.
You could do the double D-man stack. That's another way to get some exposure to Yossi if you're doing some unconventional stuff, maybe some shit my money stuff, and you're trying to two-man stack. This is a pretty good one. Ryan H, we don't know. Well, we know where FC is, but they've been having some issues if you haven't heard. So they're working on trying to get that back up. Do we have anything on the Send side we're looking at?
No.
Kachuk, White, Ryan, if that's going to be a line, I think they went to Tierney, Brown, and Kachuk last game. So I actually might end up running some of that and then swapping down to White and Bobby Ryan if I need to. But I actually would like it if it's Tierney, Brown, and Kachuk. Again, I just don't know what they're actually going to end up running.
Just 10, 13, 14,000 for that line on back-to-backs.
I'm good with 14,000. Half of it is for Kachuk. So
2.5 implied total.
Yeah, but the Preds are not that good, man. And they have a really
they're
bad
rebounded.
goal.
Starts now.
You think so?
The Preds of old.
I mean, maybe. They take out above average amount of penalties, and they have one of the worst kills in the NHL. So you can see this going pretty bad for Nashville. When has Nashville ever disappointed as chalk?
Never.
Never. This would be a first. Let's go to Columbus and Minnesota. 2.4 implied total for the Blue Jackets, 3.1 for the Wild. Jonas Korpisalo and Alex Stalock are your goalies. Looks like we got some new Wild lines here.
Yeah, so Columbus on back-to-backs didn't skate this morning. Minnesota, Gerald Mayhew up on the top line with Stahl and Fiala. Mayhew leads the AHL in goal scoring. I think he has 38 goals in 46 games or something like that. So not exactly the worst spot, I think, for someone who's going to be priced at the bare min. I think, he's not your average AHL call-up anyways. Then, who's out? Kunin's out for the Wilds. Eriksson between Greenman and Parise. Galchenyuk between Zuccarello and Foligno. And the usual Koivu, Hartman, Donato line.
Yeah, Minnesota line's back to being a bit of a mess. We got Stahl, Fiala, and Parise there for a bit. Mayhew up there makes him really cheap though. $2,400 less than Parisi, who actually didn't end up getting traded. We thought he was going to get traded. Like it was pretty much a lock. Like everything was done, it sounded like, and then it wasn't. So they keep him, but the rest of these lines are pretty brutal. I kind of like the Stahl, Fiala, Mayhew line if you're taking some flyers for cheap. And then on the Blue Jackets side, I think this Blue Jackets top line, this Jenner, Nyquist, Foligno line that they ran a lot last night, I think they're going to be sneaky popular. And for this slate, that might be like 5%. But this is not a great spot going into Minnesota, going up against the Foligno, Greenway, or I'm sorry, whatever line they use as the shutdown line, whether it's Eriksson at Greenway or Foligno. I don't know what they're going to do with their middle six there, but I don't think it's that great of a spot. So I'm going to try to avoid them if they're popular. If I'm dead wrong and we show that they're going to be 2% owned, then yeah, maybe you take a couple flyers. But I think they might be like above 5% going into Minnesota with the 2.4 implied total here. Spurgeon Hattie night, or is it a Dumba night, or is this the night Suter throws two at the net and they go in, or what do we do with these Minnesota guys?
Spurgeon 50-point night.
Yeah, that's got to be one of the best scores for a defenseman this entire season. One of the best scores for any player this season. I think he got both bonuses, got the Hattie. I think he might have had an assist earlier in the game. That garbage game. Yeah, I've got pretty much nothing on the wild side. Take your pick with these guys. Dumba is the cheapest between him, Spurgeon, and Suter. So that'd probably be my favorite guy if I'm choosing just one to go to.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Let's go to the Panthers and the Coyotes. 2.9 implied total for the Panthers. 3.1 for Arizona, Bobrovsky, and Darcy Kemper for the Coyotes. Any changes here?
Florida has rejigged their lines again. Barkov, Dednoff, Huberdeau back together. Don't hate it. Holla debuts between Vetrano and Hoffman. It's kind of like they finally put their lines properly together here. Walmart between Connolly and Sorella. And then I think that's pretty much it from them. On the Arizona side, I think all the lines are the same. Richardson, Hina, Strozek, Soderberg on the fourth line. I think everything's pretty much the same for them.
Yeah.
And Chikrin possibly looks like he's out again. So Ekman Larson on the top power play unit.
Yeah, I kind of like what Florida has going on with these lines. I think I'm going to go to some of the Hall of Vetrano and Hoffman line. Probably going to see the fewest time against Hall, and then the rest of this team without Hall on the ice, they're pretty poor defensively. So Halla, Hoffman, Vetrano, that looks like a pretty complete line. Couple scorers. Halla, pretty decent center, now getting a top 6 role, secondary power play time, and a good price. So I like Florida 2 a little bit as more of a filler stack. And then Dvorak, Hall, and Schmaltz is my favorite stack. Basically, wherever Hall goes, hopefully they go up against the Barkov, Huberdeau, Dadonov line. For as much credit as Barkov gets as a good defenseman, that line as a trio isn't that great. So I love Arizona 1 here. I would imagine I'm going to be pretty heavy on them in multi-entry formats tonight.
Arizona 1,
yeah.
All right, good to know. I was not on them, but I will be now.
Bobrovsky's been so shaky like this entire year, just up and down. He's still got the massive upside game in him. Like, you could always get bit. But, yeah, I mean, he's had a bunch of games where it's 3-4 goals in the middle of the second period, and the other team is just kind of rolling. So I'm taking Arizona, what I think Arizona's best line is, and that is the top one. Hoping they go a little bit under the radar. We don't know when ownership's going to update just yet. Hopefully very soon, because it looks like FC has been up and down recently. So hopefully that means it's coming back up and we can run ownership and update projections and all that stuff. Projections are up on the site, so you'll have those at the very least. Anything else in this game before moving on? Defenseman, anyone? Ekblad, Ekman Larson, the 2X.
Ekman Larson and Goligoski are both in play tonight.
Yeah, I suppose. Dude, I just don't have a lot of hot takes on defensemen tonight. I wish there was a guy that I love for super cheap, but
feels like a good night to pay up.
For defensemen, yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
But we'll see once I actually end up running crunches.
Oh, one guy we didn't mention as well is Madison Bowie, who's now on the top Detroit power play unit. 3,500 on DK, getting like 22, 23 minutes per game. Seems to be like filling the stat sheet a little bit. So I think that's one of the better bargain plays. And then like just remember Stone. Sorry, I forgot to mention Stone is out of the lineup for the Flames if Giordano's good to go. So our favorite punt play defenseman that didn't do anything for the last 3 weeks is no longer going to cost us money.
Very good. I think I got a double assist game from Stone one time this year. So
did you? Oh yeah, the one night I didn't play him, I think you had him.
Yeah. All right. Before we get to the last game, if you guys could drop us a like. I see over 200 of you are in here right now. If you guys could drop us a like, if you do appreciate the content, that would be very helpful. Helps us continue to do this kind of thing for free, which I'm sure the majority of you prefer it being free.
Also, we got a podcast promo going on.
Yeah, let me pull this up on screen. Do you want to kind of give people the quick lowdown, and I'll put the graphic up?
Sure, sounds good. Yeah, so if you go over to iTunes or one of the podcasts, one of the like Android or Microsoft podcast sites that allows you to rate and review, just leave a 5-star review, subscribe, leave a comment with your handle, and you're entered into a draw to win a free month, I think, of Awesemo Plus. So we're going to make a big push in the podcast. I think a lot of people don't even know that our YouTube stuff goes to podcasts, so it's going to be great for just kind of get the word out. I don't know. I like to go for a little jog and turn on some DFS podcasts from time to time. So why not get the word out?
Yeah, give us a rating, give us a 5-star review. Give us a 5-star rating review. It's super easy and a way to win a free month. So you might as well give it a try. If you do like the content, it's just a few seconds of your time. And again, this is going to help us grow our podcast and give you guys more free content. So if you haven't gotten behind the paywall, this is a way you could help us out. All right, let's go to the last game. Edmonton and Anaheim, 3.2 implied total for the Oilers, 2.7 for the Ducks. Mike Smith and John Gibson expected to go. Do we see any changes here?
Big changes for the Oilers. Kyler Yamamoto is out, I think, 10 to 14 days. Josh Archibald takes his spot on the second line. Tyler Ennis and Athanasio debuting in Edmonton 1, flanking Connor McDavid. And Chason moves down to the third line with Sheehan and Granlund. Or maybe not moves down. I think he was already there. Don't see James Neal. Don't see Zach Cassian. So looks like that's about it from the Oilers side of things. The Ducks, man, there's lots of changes. So it's Milano up with Getzlaf and Raquel. Heinen with Henrique and Kiefer Sherwood. Steele between Jones and Silverberg. And Agazino between Rowney and Delorier.
Good God. Yeah, that's
just a lot going on here. Looks like Fowler's out again. So Hampus Lindholm had goose-egged in 25 minutes the other night, which is hard to do.
It is hard to do, but it feels like he does that once a week or so.
God damn it.
He just doesn't do a thing. I think this one's going to be mostly Oilers for me. I don't have much faith in any of these Ducks lines. Maybe Raquel, Getzlaf, and Milano could be decent. I suppose those guys are all on the top power play, at least for now. But Del Zotto's running that unit. I don't think that's going to be a particularly scary unit. And then you've got just decent enough line mates with McDavid. Obviously, Athanasiou, a playmaking guy. So a ton of speed on this Oilers top line. And then you take Yamamoto off of that second line. That brings them down for me quite a bit with Archibald there. More of a plug, as they call it, $2,600. But I don't know that he's going to contribute much. So I think Edmonton 2 is a little bit overpriced. I think Edmonton 2 gets a downgrade. They're not really overpriced because Archibald's near min salary, but I like going either Edmonton 1 or the power play stack here. I'm probably going to get away from a lot of Draisaitl, Nugent-Hopkins, and Archibald stacks.
All right, interesting. I feel like Josh Archibald could be left off said stacks, but
I think you should. Probably should be left off. No,
Yeah.
no, I mean,
actually, man, like he's got some decent numbers, and he's 2,600, and he's going to get like 1% ownership. So
he has decent numbers.
Well, 10 goals in 53 games.
More than I thought. I would have said he had like 4, but
yeah, I know, right? That's what I thought. Just on the face of it.
All right.
So.
Maybe I'm not giving the proper Josh Archibald respect here. But
I don't really know anything about that guy, to be honest.
What about D-men here? Darnell Nurse, 6,400. Is that too rich for your blood? Ethan Bear, kind of a value guy, not necessarily a punt, but low mid tier, $3,700. And then Caleb Jones.
Yeah, I like that.
Nowhere,
And Bear is Bear still on the power play one? I didn't check that yet.
I think he was last game. I think it was Caleb Jones there for a while too.
God,
I have no idea what the Oilers are
26, 25 minutes with Clefbaum out. Sign me up for some Ethan Bear at that price point. I think this is a great spot to go back to that. I mean, why not, right? And then like just huge minutes for Nurse. I think Nurse is a really safe floor, so I feel like maybe pretty good cash game play. I don't know if the upside is there for GPPs on a slate like this at that price, but I don't think it's a bad play. What do you think?
Nurse?
Yeah.
I mean, if he's not in the top power play, he's probably overpriced.
Yeah.
So that'd be my only issue with him.
And I would go back to the Hampus Lindholm well as again too. 25 minutes, 27 minutes last game.
Oh, God. I mean, you're looking at like a 8-point ceiling. No, I mean,
all right.
You're right. I mean, yeah, they're gonna have games where they put up those numbers, but they're also gonna have games where they get the 3 block shots and get an assist.
In his last 5, he's got 16, 17, and 13 points in 3 of those games. So
yeah, I'm giving Lindholm a hard time. Him and Josh Archibald. But
you're forgiven.
Whatever. Looks like it's about time for us to check out here. Chat,
all right.
spam.
Hopefully FC's up.
It should be hopefully pretty shortly. If not, we'll let you guys know if we see any updates. I don't really have anything else left. It's a 13-game slate. I think don't get cute if you're hand building. Make sure your goalies are in. If you're not hand building, good luck, and we'll let you know if FC comes back up. That will also we're also going to need FC to run ownership projections, so we'll see if we can get those out for you in a pretty timely manner. Anything else, Nolan?
That's all I got.
All right. Let's head out of here. Good luck tonight, guys. We will catch you back tomorrow.